Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Tarnished AF. So, 2025 has been kind of ridiculous already. We got Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, which came out of nowhere looking like a fever dream, painted by a French art student on no sleep. Then Hollow Knight. Silksong finally dropped, and half the internet had to check if they were still alive, or if this was some elaborate coma fantasy. Arc Raiders gave us that co-op sci-fi chaos where you and your buddies pretend you're coordinated for about 3 minutes before everything explodes. Elden Ring Night Rain basically said, hey, remember when you thought you were good at the game? And then proceeded to fold everyone like laundry. And Silent Hill F. Look, it might be controversial, but personally, that weird psychological mess absolutely lived rent-free in my head. It's like the horror equivalent of a strange dream you're not sure you were supposed to enjoy. And somehow, after all that, 2026 is lining up like, oh, you thought this was a lot. We could have had GTA 6 already, but Rockstar said, nah, let us cook. And honestly, if their kitchen is anything like their open worlds, they can take their time. Today, let's talk about why 2026 feels unreal. Specifically, the games and movies that make next year look like a crossover event nobody was prepared for. Video games. 2026 is just a wish list. Alright, let's start with games, because 2026 is stacked like someone's fantasy Steam library. Resident Evil Requiem, February 27th, 2026. First up, Resident Evil Requiem. We're going back to Raccoon City again, because apparently that town has suffered less than your average Souls player, and Capcom is determined to fix that. It continues this whole remake, reboot hot streak they've been on. And honestly, at this point, Resident Evil is like horror comfort food. Terrifying, but familiar. Expect tight corridors, questionable life choices, and that moment where you say, I'm not scared, then immediately pause the game because something growled in 3D audio behind you. Crimson Desert, March 19th, 2026. Then we've got Crimson Desert on March 19th. This is the one from the Black Desert devs, and every trailer looks like someone asked, what if we made an RPG where everything is happening all the time? It's this massive open world, super cinematic combat, and just pure chaos. Grappling, climbing, brawling, getting thrown off a horse mid-fight, it's like an action movie that forgot to stop. If they can actually make it as fun to play as it is to watch, this might be one of those games people sink 200 hours into and still swear they're just getting started. 007. First Light, March 27th, 2026. First Light dropping March 27th. A new James Bond game in 2026 feels almost surreal by itself. Fans have been starving ever since the golden days of, well, GoldenEye. This one is positioned as a big, modern, cinematic spy blockbuster. If it nails that fantasy of sneaking into a fancy party, quietly taking down guards, and then accidentally blowing something up and having to stylishly sprint away in a tux, it's over. This could be the spy game people won't shut up about. Marvel's Wolverine, 2026. Then, somewhere in the 2026 chaos, we've got Marvel's Wolverine. No exact date yet, but the hype is already insane. From what we've seen, it's darker, more grounded, and more brutal than your usual Marvel project. This is not the quippy Spider-Man energy. This is heal from getting absolutely wrecked, and then go right back into the fight energy. If they give us a tight, story-driven brawler where you actually feel the weight and savagery of those claws, this is going to be one of those games that gets clipped to death on TikTok. Grand Theft Auto 6, November 19th, 2026. And then towering over everything like a monolith of chaos and memes. This game has been hyped for so long that some people's GTA 6 memes are old enough to start school. The expectations are completely out of control. We're talking a massive modern open world that looks way too close to real life. Social media systems, viral chaos, and probably a million tiny ways to cause trouble. Story characters that become instant icons the second the game drops. GTA 6 is not just a big release, it's that game where servers crash day one. Timelines are nothing but clips and glitches. Everyone suddenly remembers they always loved Rockstar, even if the last game they finished was Candy Crush. For a lot of people, 2026 basically is the year GTA 6 drops. All the other games are like incredible opening acts, and Rockstar is just standing backstage, slowly lowering the biggest curtain in gaming history. This is a big part of why 2026 feels unreal. It's not just that there are many good games. It's that one of the most anticipated games of all time is finally scheduled to land. Did Hollywood hit randomize? Now, games aren't the only ones wilding out in 2026. Movies are also going full multiverse of hype. The Odyssey first? Yep, as in that Odyssey, the classic journey story that's older than your entire family tree combined. We're getting a big modern adaptation, which means mythological chaos, gods being petty, monsters trying to ruin one guy's trip home, and a lot of dramatic staring into the distance. If they pull this off, it could be that kind of epic that dominates awards season and becomes the new go-to. You have to see this in a cinema movie. Next, Avengers Doomsday, because of course the MCU isn't done throwing the entire universe at one giant crisis. This is one of the big new Avengers team-up movies, and the stakes sound absolutely ridiculous, even by Marvel standards. This is the kind of movie where you don't go in expecting subtlety. You go in expecting portals, returning heroes, giant CGI threats, emotional speeches, and at least 3 moments designed purely to make the theater scream. Then we've got Spider-Man, Brand New Day. A new Spider-Man movie basically guarantees instant hype. The character is just permanently stuck at beloved, no matter how many timelines and reboots we get. Whether this leans into multiverse stuff again, or takes a more grounded direction, Spider-Man movies always hit that sweet spot of fun, heart, and trauma for the main character. Peter's life being a mess is the one constant in the universe. Project Hail Mary. Based on Andy Weir's novel, this is shaping up to be one of those smart sci-fi movies that manage to be emotional, funny, and nerdy all at once. Think along the lines of guy wakes up alone in space, big mystery, big stakes, science problem-solving montage, and some surprisingly wholesome moments. If they adapt it well, this could be one of those films people recommend with, trust me, don't Google it, just watch. All of these together make 2026's movie lineup feel like Hollywood sat down and said, what if we adapt everything, continue everything, and blow up everything all in one year? So when you zoom out, it's kind of obvious why 2026 feels unreal. On the game side, you've got Resident Evil dragging us back into horror comfort hell, Crimson Desert trying to melt GPUs, First Light reviving spy fantasies, Marvel's Wolverine bringing claw-based therapy, and then GTA 6 looming over everything like the final boss of hype. If 2025 was the warm-up, 2026 looks like the actual expansion pack to reality. So yeah, let Rockstar, keep cooking. Let studios finish their epics. And in the meantime, hit that like button, subscribe to Tarnished AF, and drop a comment telling which 2026 game or movie you're most hyped for.